Kaishan over PRA.
How we doing, fellas? Happy what's today? Wednesday? Chuck Silver and Smitty here with Occupy Fantasy to bring you the strategy for DraftKings and FanDuel. We got a fun one, big slate today. Not too chalky. Highest projected guy is Denny, 37%, probably deserved. Dayron Sharp is going to be a fun one. We'll see what to do with Brooklyn's rotation. Nick Claxton's out, but Smitty, how we doing? How we feeling about today's slate?
Doing pretty good. Pretty large slate with a lot of games locking within about an hour or so. Make sure you're around your computer or phone, whatever you build on, because it could be kind of a busy one.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun today. I think we want to mix it up. No one was showing up super chalky like 85% Luca was in my stuff yesterday. Good day yesterday. Model gave us a bone, except the top play. I don't know if it's a curse or something because Porzingis got ruled out after lock, which is super frustrating. He ended up being the second value after Desmond Bain, who did smash in overtime yesterday. But yeah, if that top value play can just work out for us, someone here is going to win a tournament today. It's Grady Dick, so we'll have some fun with that.
Yeah, I feel like Porzingis is the player that gets ruled out the most after lock. It just
It's
always seems that way.
it's like you can't tell me they didn't know he was sick 15 minutes ago. They ruled him out 10 minutes after lock, and I don't know. But Kada didn't do that well. Pritchard was the man that you needed yesterday for sure, though, from that team. No one else got there. But they did keep it close, and Celtics are in another close one today, so we'll take a look at Detroit.
Yeah.
Uniform. Go ahead.
Another thing to note too is Jaylen Brown got dinged up in that game, and then Hauser played
Yeah.
a ton. He's also questionable, so I think Jaylen Brown sits. So we'll kind of have to see what the model thinks when we get that news.
Yeah, Zach Collins is probably the other big one. Andre Drummond, just ignoring him second. We'll talk about him. I think Smitty and I are kind of down on him, but his price on DK is so cheap that we're going to have to figure it out. Jerry, you switched out D Green for Porzingis. Oh man, that hurts me, man. We've all been there. Next time it'll be the Porzingis 2 Draymond swap, and you'll end up taking it down. Yep, Ben, good luck tonight, guys. Heath, you're on a hot streak. If you can make it 3 days in a row, you're getting drunk. Dude, let's make it 3 days in a row. So let's go ahead and jump into this first game. I think this is one of the more interesting games. I don't know that we're waiting for much news in the late games. I think that Brooklyn starting lineup's important, but then after that, we kind of know what's going on with the other teams mostly. So I don't mind using a lot of exposure here. I think Smitty was pretty high only on Denny, not as high on everyone else. But what do you think here for Portland?
Yeah, I'm getting to quite a bit of this team in general. I still have some Simons and Grant, and then I'm still going to continue to go to Klingon, even though the minutes really haven't been there. But I'm going to go back. Just such a good matchup that if he runs into the minutes, he's a really good GPP play. And then Denny's my highest exposed from here. The price is right on DraftKings. And then I also don't mind getting to some Tumani Kamara, who's been really good. Pretty good matchup with a lot of turnovers that should be involved. So that's kind of his specialty. So I like getting to some Kamara as well.
Yeah, Kamara has been the guy I'm talking about. He just has that ceiling. He's going to let us down sometimes, but I think this ownership is still a little bit too low. He's still below 6K. I tend to lean to like him a little more on FanDuel due to the stock upside, but he's really good on DraftKings too, with a little bit of a discount. And then, of course, Jeremy Grant and Klingon up here. Yeah, I don't mind getting back to Klingon too. At this low ownership, we know he has a ceiling. That's all I care about. What better matchup is there? Like Rashawn Holmes actually hasn't been awful. I called him awful the other day. Sorry, Rashawn. But I mean, Klingon's still going to be the better player here. And at this ownership, I want to take shots. Simons, I was a little disappointed his DK value was below the other guys because I was pretty interested in him today. 9.3 OF index for 6,700. The ownership is definitely there, but how much Simons were you getting to?
I currently have 38%, and I'd probably be fine with that. I kind of want a little bit less, but I like this game environment. So whatever I get from here, I'm pretty happy with.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with Simons. I'm over this 25% right now, and I don't love it, but like you said, it's just a really good game environment, and the ownership is not awful. It is the first game. It's one of the higher on the slate, but I don't mind getting there. What about the secondary guys like Scoot, Shaden Sharp, maybe Jabari Walker playing backup center minutes?
I have a few percent of each of them. I don't have any Jabari Walker currently, but I have some Scoot. Probably the person I'd get to the most out of the bench. I think he's an interesting GPP play.
Yeah, Scoot's the only bench guy I'm getting a few percentage of. Wouldn't mind taking shots on Shaden, but the model is telling us we don't really have to if we don't want to. Washington on the other side. 7 point spread here. Portland's actually kind of good, which is crazy. They are the favorites. Rashawn Holmes, 15.6 DK value. Kaishawn George, 15.2 DK value. Both of them projected for pretty lowish ownership. What do you think about these two at the top?
Yeah, I don't mind getting to Kaishawn George. I think he's a pretty decent play. I kind of worry about the ceiling, like at that 5K price tag. Like you need quite a bit out of him on this big of a slate. So I kind of question that. But at his ownership, I think it's okay. And then Rashawn Holmes, I kind of worry this game goes small, but also I'm playing Klingon, so I might as well take some shots on Rashawn Holmes as well. At pretty modest ownership, I think he's a pretty decent play.
Yeah, it's kind of the problem I've been having the last few days. We're getting a lot of really good value centers, and Filipowski's on this slate, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
and so he's like cheap too, and so that's another thing. Kessler is back today, though, right? So
yeah, he is.
that's gonna hurt him. We'll see what else is up there, but I don't know. I don't hate it with Rashawn Holmes. I kind of would like to find pivots, but I'm not going to force myself to get off of him. I think.
Yep.
Uh, Sorry, did you mention Jordan Poole already?
No, I didn't.
I'm getting a decent amount. I think he's a pretty decent GPV play. 7,300 sounds good against Portland.
Yeah, that's a pretty good price. You don't need an absolute ton out of that 7K price tag, so I don't mind it.
And then you're more on FanDuel today, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about this 11% for Chris Middleton?
Um, I haven't fully built there, but I don't know. I would say it's okay, but I'd rather find alternatives.
Yeah, it's like he actually projects pretty decently in the rest of the industry. We don't project him well today, though, and so I'm perfectly happy to fade him on both sites. Maybe it'd be different on FanDuel, but DraftKings, it seems like an easy fade, even though he's only 3%. Any GPP shots on Koulibaly, Kispert, Marcus Smart?
Not really. Koulibaly maybe, but they've just added more bodies in here that actually have NBA talent, so kind of hard to really get there.
I agree. Yeah, and I see Powers asking for our projection for Vooks. I'm assuming that's our minutes projection. It's 14. I think this is 1 or 2 minutes below the rest of the industry. Is this a player that we can consider, or
Not for me personally.
yeah? I mean, there's just nothing here. And like we said, we have other options. I mean, if he ends up randomly getting 20 minutes playing well, maybe it's a blowout, sure, but it just seems a little bit too high risk, I think. I don't know that we need all this super cheap value today. There aren't that many payups.
No.
Grant has 2 good games and he's 6K on FanDuel. Well, that's what happens. I mean, has he been taking, how many shots has he been taking? 15, dude. We'd love to see it. It's these minutes, 38 minutes in the last game. Did that go to overtime against Utah? No, right?
No.
I mean, that he has a potential to play 38. We have Jeremy Grant for 33. You know, we can't project him for probably more than this, but already at 33, he's one of the best values on the slate. So I'm going back to him.
Yeah, and I think Simon's played 37, if I remember right.
Yeah, Portland, I don't know. Maybe they're done tanking. They're kind of good, but they're kind of not at the same time.
Yeah, they could make the playoffs.
Can they?
Yeah, as a play-in. Yeah.
Nice. Good for them. Let's go to the next game, Toronto, Indiana. Let's start with the Toronto side. We got Scotty Barnes ruled out kind of late. Let me just refresh, make sure we're all up here. But I was taking a pretty good look at Emmanuel Quickly and RJ Barrett. Obviously, we know Grady Dick is the best value on the slate, so we're playing him. But what do you think about Toronto?
Yeah, I haven't fully adjusted for the Scotty out, but overall, I think you could get to pieces here like Barrett and then Art or Grady Dick, top value on the slate per the model. I don't mind getting there either in tournaments.
We have Grady Dick for 32 minutes, 8.7 OF index, 22 DK value, 18.6 Vandal value. At this ownership, I'd expect this to come up, but it probably won't come up to what the model thinks it should. And so you want that low owned model special. Maybe this comes down a little bit, but even if it comes down a little bit, he's still going to stand out. So I think we can get over the field on Grady Dick.
Yeah.
And then Barrett and Quickly. I think Nick was the one that pointed this out. Quickly's been pulling lately. He likes to shoot that basketball. And with no Scotty Barnes, he should have more freedom to do what he wants. He went 0 for 6 from 3 last game, but he's been taking at least 6 threes a game. Assists have been there. And so 7K for Emmanuel Quickly at 4% ownership. I think this is a GPP play that we want to target. Really strong DK value, FD value, OF index, everything points to playing him. RJ too.
Yeah, yeah, I like that.
Jakob Pertl's back for limited minutes, so I think that kind of kills that trio of Mobo, Boucher, and Orlando Robinson. Was there anyone else on Toronto you were considering?
No, not really.
On the Indiana side, we got word that TJ McConnell's out, and then Halliburton. I don't know if they confirmed he's in, but we're going to assume he's in. They said something about him being good to go. It's a groin injury. I tend to be very pessimistic on groin injuries because they suck. I've dealt with one. I know what it's like. But with that said, he's at home against Toronto. It's a pretty decent total. And so, I mean, Hallie just went off. Was it yesterday or the day before? I don't mind taking shots on him. The rest of the team, I'm not getting to much, but Miles Turner, top value on the team again.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I don't really mind taking shots on some of these guys, but none of them are going to be core pieces to my lineups.
Yeah, I wanted to be interested in Nemhard, but we haven't projected for 31 minutes with no TJ. Maybe that's right. I was kind of hoping that Halliburton was going to sit because I didn't think people were going to get to Nemhard. He has been playing awful, but I don't know. For some reason, I feel like he's a decent GPP play, and the model thinks so too.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Not sure about the ownership. It seems a little bit high. If it was lower, I'd be more interested, but I'm not even at this 9%.
No.
Anything else here? Ben Shepard?
Ben Shepard is the one that comes to mind when you mention McConnell out to me. Just in terms of minutes, the production's not really great, but he's 3,200, so you don't really need a whole lot. So I think if you got a couple percent of him, I think that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, I'm okay with it, even though the model's not really identifying him as value. Again, another type of guy that can come in, just hit a few threes, play himself into a few extra minutes. Anything on like Matherin, Toppin, Thomas Bryant?
No.
Yeah, I have to mention Naismith. This is insane to me, 21% at 3,800, but the model thinks he's good value, so I can't say, like, I can't imagine I'm going to be with the field here. But Naismith, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't mind it, but not at that ownership.
He's been playing really well, three ceiling games in a row, but I think this is the expectation when you play Naismith most of the time. Granted, the minutes were much lower here. He's been in line for extra minutes. He probably gets closer to these minutes tonight. We have him for 27. But I think this is risky. Models identifying him as a strong value, but we have a lot of other guys in the price range. Like Grady Dick's so much stronger. Different, both shooting guard too. So rather go there.
Yep.
Philadelphia Knicks. So Philly is missing Joel Embiid. Yabusele left like a minute into the second half last game. Kyle Lowry's out. They said Justin Edwards was probable. He'd be in line to play 20 minutes if he plays. So I don't know what that means. Smitty, what do you want to do with Philadelphia?
I think a lot of it depends on the starting lineup. If they start Drummond here, then I'll have some interest. I mean, he's only 4K. So I think part of that also depends if Towns is in. If Towns is in, then more than likely we see Drummond start. But he's been playing at 5 minute stints, so I'm kind of worried about his minutes ceiling. But at 4K, I'm still willing to take shots. Only 17% ownership seems pretty good. So someone I'm gonna probably be overweight on, but not by much. Not I don't want him taking up a huge part of my lineups. And then the rest of this team, I'm not really that interested in them.
I'm looking at Kelly Oubre. He definitely stands out in the model. Very strong DK value. OF index at the price. 10% ownership. I'll be over the field for sure. Quentin Grimes, I think, is worth some shots, but the model's not telling us to play him today. The model has been telling us to play him other days. The price came up a little bit, but at 2% ownership, I don't hate it if he ends up in a couple. And then Maxi, model really doesn't like him points per dollar. OF index is kind of low considering who he is, but we know he has that super ceiling to break the slate, especially against the Knicks. I don't mind taking shots for that. Paul George, I'm never going to be in on Paul George this season, I don't think, if his price doesn't come down a lot. We saw him. He was on pace to put up like 60 last game, but then he scored 4 fantasy points total in the second half. So typical Paul George. You were talking to me before the stream about you don't think Andre Drummond's capable of playing more than 5 minutes at a time.
Yeah, that's kind of my worry with him is I don't know about his minutes ceiling. Like we only have him at 21 minutes, and I think that's probably correct. Still looks like a pretty good DK value, so I'm still fine getting there. I just don't think the ceiling is really as high as some people might think.
I agree. Yeah. So Yabusele left 1 minute into the second half last game. Drummond checked in. He played 4 minutes, and then the game was lost. So he played like one stint blowout run, I think, just to give the guys a breather. But we saw David Roddy get blowout run. He played one stint before that. Adam Bona played a rotation in the first half for 4 minutes, and then he played looks like 15-ish minutes in the second half, including about 6 from blowout. So Adam Bona models like this is a beyond the model play. If you're going here, we haven't projected for 18 minutes, and even at 18 minutes, he does not look good at all. Can we consider him though?
I think you can, like in super large field GPPs. I think he's in play. He like you only have to bump him a couple fantasy points to probably get him into your lineup. So I think you could go there.
What do you think about just like I have a bunch of Drummond, and I mentioned I do like Oubre. Other than that, I'm kind of okay just not playing this game or this
Yeah,
side of the game anyway. Philadelphia.
yeah, they've been terrible. So I'm down with that.
Yeah, like they're bad in real life. They're bad for fantasy. I mean, they lost by 40 to Brooklyn or something. Like, come on, fellas, get it together.
Yeah, and now that their season's pretty much lost, I don't think like Maxi has the minute ceiling that we're used to for him. Like used to he could put 40, 42 minutes. Now we have him for 37. That's probably even a little high.
Yeah, I don't mind that take either. Same would go for like Paul George. I mean, I know they played him 40 minutes the other day. Maybe they just don't care anymore, but that's a
Yeah.
lot of money invested in him over the next 4 years.
Yeah.
From the Knicks side, I'm really not getting that much exposure. I think they're kind of just GPP plays. Like Cat shows up as a strong value with a strong OF at the price, so I think we can definitely get over the field on him. Brunson, I'm always okay getting over, but 9% is not super low. Are you looking at anyone else here?
No, it's mainly Cat for me, assuming he plays. And then I don't hate taking a shot on Josh Hart or Jalen Brunson, but no real priorities here.
Yeah, I have a less than 10% of all three of those guys, but those are the only three I'm getting exposure to here.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, they're 10-point favorites. If I was a betting man, I would take the Knicks spread here.
Yeah, same here. My only worry is Towns.
If he ends up sitting,
Yeah, that's the only reason I didn't hit it.
I think we just got some news that nice. We already had Jalen Brown out in the model. Jalen Brown's out. Did we get an update on Kristaps?
He's in.
Okay, nice. So we got 7 guys projected for over 10 minutes. Yeah, talk to me about Boston.
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. So I haven't ran lineups with Jalen Brown out, and the model's not fully updated, but I can tell you that Peyton Pritchard's going to be a good play. And then Sam Hauser, I think it said he was available. Probably starts. He played 40 minutes, I think, yesterday, but I don't know. He's okay. I prefer just getting to Pritchard, and then the rest of the team's just kind of GPP plays. No one I'm really prioritizing, but they're all in play.
Yeah, like Tatum is going to show up in lineups. Really strong value for the high price. It's not hard to get over the field, so I don't hate it. I don't want to jam him in though. And then, like you mentioned, Pritchard still looks pretty good. I kind of like Detroit though. I believe in Detroit. I don't see Celtics blowing them out here. If anything, I would take Detroit. What is that? +5.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. I think this game plays pretty close.
Yeah, and so, but Model's not giving us Pritchard today. So, what do you think about just full fading the team?
I don't hate it.
I think it's going to be a close game, but Boston, I don't know. Maybe Derek White. Maybe we can take shots on Derek White at 1%.
Yeah,
Other side, Detroit. Cade, not the super OF ranking that we've been used to. Makes sense. He's going against Boston. No one really stands out here. Asar is good value on DK at 2% ownership, D300. I think we have better options, though. Tim Hardaway, I mean, showing up as value. I can't say don't play him at 2%. Are you looking at anybody on Detroit?
no. Although I like this game to be pretty competitive, their prices are just kind of hard to get to. But if I was taking shots, it'd be Cade and Asar. Probably my two favorite options from here. Not really into Duran with Porzingis in, but he has a ceiling, so I don't mind getting there. But mainly just would be Cade and Asar.
I didn't think I would mind Duran, but I'm getting 0% in my 100 lineup, so I guess I don't know. He's 6,700, 5%. Maybe I'll force in a couple percent of him. Let's get a couple questions here. Giddy shines again tonight. He just might. Yeah, he might.
Isn't he like super expensive now?
Is he? Chicago,
Oh,
Giddy.
77. I think it's
Yeah.
maybe FanDuel. One of the sites I was shocked.
It's some sticker shock. He's 83 on FanDuel, but the model
Yeah.
has him as just an insane value even at this price, and so I'm going to be over the field. Yeah, I'm over. I'm over on Giddy. Could we rank Sharp, Collins, Drummond? The problem with that is they're all the top four, and I don't think you look at this like, okay, Drummond one, Collins two, Sharp three. I think you mix them in a bucket. Do you have a different ranking to what the model says about these three?
Yeah, probably.
What do you? So Drummond, Collins, Sharp. How are you ranking them?
It'd probably be Colin Sharp Drummond for me.
That's where I'm at too. Yeah, and you got to consider the minutes because these value numbers are very volatile. Take away or add a couple minutes to any of these guys, and the rankings change. And so, don't take this absolute Drummond, Collins, Sharp. Um, I mean, on FanDuel, it's probably going to be Collins, right?
Yeah.
Porzingis is in for now. Risky play. Probably comes in low ownership. People are going to be scared to play him today. It's a good GPP spot. Justin Edwards is in if he plays. Paul George's usage goes way up with no Yabu. My problem, so the reason I stopped talking about usages and stuff like that on the show is because I think it's misleading. While it can be directionally accurate, it's just these rotations are so much different than whatever we've been looking at, whatever numbers are coming up with these usage numbers while this team is on the court. The samples are too small. And so, like I said, they might be directionally accurate, but I just don't think they're that useful because I think a lot of the people talking about those on streams are just, they're not accurate enough to like use as good information. Really depends on who's on the court with you, who's actually playing, not just who's on the bench, like who's playing that day. And so that's why we don't do it anymore. We just stick to the model. What about Klingon? I think we both like taking shots on Klingon. Yeah, he's pretty low owned and he's been having some bad games.
Yep.
Smitty, who's the first guy in your single entry today?
Um, probably probably Denny.
I think mine is Zach Collins. Yeah, fine with both of those two. Denny would probably be second. Chris Samuels Jr. is in for the Knicks. Nice. Who is that?
Did someone say that?
Yeah. Is that a real player? Like, is that a real piece of news?
I don't know.
I don't know who Chris Samuels Jr. is. Sorry if I didn't get your joke. That was probably a good one. But Atlanta, we got a few guys. I'm not getting more than 10% of anyone. I'm getting about 8% of Niang, Young, Rissa Shea, and then a little bit of a Kongu and Dyson Daniels. What do you think?
Yeah, I like this game. It's one of the more competitive and tight spreads on the slate. So I'm pretty into getting into Trey Young. I think he's pretty good, 9,400. Kind of a one of the better pay ups to me on this slate in a close spread. So I like getting to Trey, and then I still like taking shots on Niang. And I don't hate taking shots on like a Risa Shea, but it's mainly Trey Young and Niang for me.
These two teams played 2 days ago, and Trey Young was just awful. I jammed him, had a ton. He let me down. I'm really surprised that the ownership is still getting there today. I thought the field would have shied away, which would have made me want to play more Trey Young, but the model thinks he's okay. He's like borderline elite on DK. FanDuel, he's probably pretty good value. Better play on FanDuel than he is on DK. Yeah, like I said, I'm about half the field right now. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Niang's pretty interesting, though. Still pulling pretty low ownership. He's coming off the bench, but his usage is pretty high. He's been closing, if I'm not mistaken. And so I'm not that far over the field, but I do like getting over on Niang and then a Kongwu. Models identifying him as like a really good center GPP play for under 10% ownership.
Yeah, yeah, that's not too bad.
Anything else on Atlanta?
I think that's pretty much it. Levert, like he's fine if he makes it into a lineup or two, but no one I'm really forcing.
Yeah, Terrence Mann could be interesting if he was a flat min price, but that's kind of all he is just interesting. Sorry, Terrence Mann. He kind of had a really strong sequence in the last game that they needed from him. He did well, so we'll see how that goes going forward.
He
What
was
about
supposed to be that guy.
he was supposed to be that guy, and I believed it. I mean, I've seen that guy play in person a dozen times. You know, he's on the Clippers, and
Yeah,
I expected more. From the Miami side, whoa, Kyle Anderson, hello. Getting a ton of this guy, 3,400 on DK, projected for 25% ownership. I'm over that, over on Wiggins, and I'm over on Harrow. Where are you at?
Let me see. Yeah, exactly where I'm at. Bam is questionable too, which could change some things, but still going to be overweight on Kyle Anderson, and then Hero I think is pretty good, and then Wiggins. Mainly those three. I don't hate taking shots on Davion Mitchell at low ownership, but Kyle Anderson, the minutes have been there. Spoelstra seems to like him, and in a competitive game, they're going to want him out there. So I like it.
And Kyle Anderson's showing up because Jovic broke his hand,
Yeah,
so he's out for a month or something. He last
and Rozier is also out of the rotation.
Oh, Rozier's just. Oh yeah, wow.
He
We don't
DNP'd.
we don't even have him for 10 minutes. That's crazy. Burks is showing up. Surprised we haven't gotten a question about him yet. What do you want to do with Kyle Anderson though? Are we just jamming him in? Is this just like the easiest play ever, assuming he starts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about easiest just because it's Spolstra and he could change at halftime. Like, you never know. So it depends. Like, I want to monitor his ownership, but at 25%, I'll be overweight. I currently have 37%, and I'm pretty happy with that.
I have a little bit more than you. We have him projected for 23 minutes. It's like if you take away 2 minutes, he's going to look poor. If you give him an extra 2 minutes, he's probably going to show up borderline elite. So it's pretty volatile. I'm going to roll with it. Model's not as into it, so maybe I might dock him a little bit, get closer to this 25%. But like you mentioned, if Bam's out, I think we're going to want to swap onto some Khalil Ware. Although, I don't know. I guess I expect too much. I wanted to see like 45 plus point ceilings from Khalil Ware. I think he's only shown it to us a couple times. But with no Bam, maybe he can get there against Atlanta.
Yeah, the last slate they were on, I was actually pretty high on Ware, and it was actually against the Hawks. Yeah, and he did okay in terms of rebounds, but he just couldn't hit a shot. So I don't mind going back there. I like it more on FanDuel though, where he's 5,800. He's 4% owned, so I like him as a FanDuel tournament play.
And then Alec Burks, just he's been in the rotation. I don't think he's a great fantasy player or anything. Model doesn't either. But if Rozier really is out of the rotation, then we probably have his minutes projected incorrectly at 15. He played 27 last game, 2 games ago, 6, but 28, 28, 26. What do you think about going beyond the model and just jacking Alec Burks' minutes up here?
I don't mind it. As someone, he's cheap value. We don't have a ton of really cheap value, so I don't hate going there.
Yeah, people have been asking about him in the chat, man, and I guess I'm on board today, even though model says nope.
Yeah.
It's just if the minutes are that wrong, if the minutes are off by 12, that's really significant because then whose minutes are two here? I couldn't even tell you. Davion, maybe? Davion's been getting minutes. Let's see what's going on in chat. Jose rather play Klingon than Collins, Drummond, or Sharp. I think I'm higher on Collins due to the price, but I agree with you. Klingon actually does have the highest ceiling of any of those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Klingon would probably be second for me, probably with prices considered.
I think I agree. Yeah, and it's like Sharp is probably going to be my second highest exposed after Collins, but I don't feel great about it. I'm going to let it happen though. Dyson seems cheap at 6,700 for the ceiling. Yeah, just when he fails, but when he hits, I mean, he wins you a tournament, so I like it.
Yeah.
What about Sar? I thought he was out.
Yeah, he's out.
Yeah, Sar's out. Klingon or Collins? What did the model say? Model had Collins by quite a bit, so my personal feelings are also Collins. I'm just gonna be easy, but Klingon's not too far down here, and like I said, I think his ceiling is higher than Collins.
Yeah. About a week ago, Billups talked about how he wanted to play him 31, 32 minutes, and I've been waiting on that. It just hasn't happened.
We have him for 25. This is another like if we're off by 6 minutes on him, he's the best play on the slate.
That's why I've been riding him, but I just know that when I stop, he's going to get it.
Yep. Wiggins or Avdia, they're both top plays. I think Avdia was higher. Was he?
I
Avdia is
think
actually not even at the top of value. Still very strong. He's higher than Wiggins. Wait, where's Wiggins? 13.3. Yeah. So it's Avdia. Cunningham or Harden for a single entry. Harden, is slightly higher than Cunningham on the model. If you can do something with that extra 700, he has a better value score too. But Cunningham at 2%, I think it just depends on the rest of your lineup, what you would do with that safe salary. Khalil Ware the rest of your fantasy points. I think he's going to find them tonight if Bam's out. Let's go to the next game, OKC Brooklyn. Start with OKC side. I'm getting 0% exposure to this team. What do you want to do here?
Let me see. Yeah, I'm getting none as well. I think if you were going to take any kind of shots, it'd be Aaron Wiggins, but he's priced up, so it's pretty tough to get there. Or maybe you could play Case and Wallace and hope he plays blowout, but that's more of the Wiggins role. If he was like 4K, I think he'd be pretty interesting, but at his price, I don't really have a ton of interest. You could always play Shea, but it's just a tough team to get to.
It's like SGA 13.4 OF index, even though the value scores aren't great, is fine. I think we have the value to get there today. 1%. We know he's capable of breaking the slate. It's a 16-point spread against Brooklyn. I kind of think Brooklyn's been overperforming lately. If that even makes sense at all. But I'm not saying they can keep it close with OKC, but I don't know. I'd feel better about the Brooklyn plus 16 here. I'm probably wrong, and they just lose by 40. But Jalen Williams, double-digit OF index. Chet, pretty close to double-digit OF index. I mean, these guys are just GPP plays. I think you mix in very little if you do. And then as for the value guys, the model's not identifying any of them as value. And if you've been watching the show, you know that the model typically loves 2 or 3 of these guys. And so that the model's telling us they're not plays today, I think we just listen and don't play any of them.
Yeah, I'd be fine if I didn't get a single OKC player.
And that's like pretty extreme thing to say. Like, don't play anyone from this team because stuff happens. It's the NBA, but I think it's the right move in the long run.
Yep.
The other side of this game, though, super interesting. With Nick Claxton out, D'Angelo Russell's out. I think that's the only new ones. But Killian Hayes, he had that comeback game that we were talking about. He did it. I barely got any, so it didn't matter. But I think he's playable today. Model thinks he's better than he was the other days. But Day'Ron Sharp is the big talking point here. I think it's assumed he's going to start. We only have him projected for 24 minutes, 4,200 on DK at 26% ownership. I feel like this came down. This was higher earlier. I'm over this 26%. What about you?
Yeah, I'm currently over that as well.
Do you like it? You feel good about it?
Not really, no. I feel like I don't even know if he's going to start. I know Nick said that he thinks he does.
Okay.
I think it's a toss up between him and Watford, but I don't know. It's tough. If even coming off the bench, he's still a pretty good play at 4,200. But I mean, we only have him for 24 minutes, and he still looks like a really strong DK value. The only problem is he's taking up one of your center spots, which is pretty valuable. We have some pretty good values at center, so I think you could get away. But I also think he's a pretty good value. But I don't know. I'm torn on him.
Yeah, Nick Morrow, one of our other hosts, is our Nets fan, resident Nets fan, and he thinks that Trendon Watford is just straight up capped to 24 minutes, which kills any upside for him. Which, in that case, I mean, because this is basically 24 and 24 for him and Sharp, but I don't think that Watford only plays center minutes. Who else could play? I guess Cam Johnson would play some power forward minutes, maybe.
Yeah, they could even put Tosan or Zaire at center.
Do you think Watford and Sharp share the court? Like, could they close in the event this game is like within 10 points?
They technically could, yeah. Watford even
could.
plays point guard sometimes.
Yeah. It's like I'd be interested in Watford if we thought that he had potential to play more minutes, but without more minutes, it's tough for me to get there at the price. But Sharp model says it's okay. I'm going to be pretty comfortable just playing him a lot on DraftKings.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with it too.
I love plays like this when the model gives us 6,400 Cam Johnson, very strong OF index, elite value on DK, elite value on FanDuel at 2 and 1%. Like, it's a terrible spread, but if they keep it close, Cam Johnson could do well. Like, he's probably going to be a big reason why the game's close, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
Long shot play. Don't like force him in if you hate it, but model's identifying him as strong play if he actually plays the 32 minutes we haven't projected for.
Yep.
Clippers, Bulls. One of the best matchups that I have in the NBA is against the Bulls. Even though it's the Clippers, they play at a slower pace, less possessions per game. But they got some players here. I'm getting exposure to the big three. Where are you at on them?
Yeah, Norm Powell out, so there's more usage to go around. I think Kawhi's a pretty good play. He's who I'm getting the most of. I think he's good. And then centers against the Bulls, even though Vooch is out, I still like attacking them. I think Zubac is good when one of them is out. I don't really like him when Powell, Kawhi, and Harden are in, but with them out, I think, or with Powell out, I think Zubac is a pretty good play. And then James Harden, I also am getting there as well. And then a little bit of Bogdan, and that's pretty much it.
I'm like over on Kawhi. I don't feel great about it. Model's telling us it's fine. 9.80 off index, strong DK value. I think the ownership's probably appropriate, right?
Yeah, I think so.
What do you think about like pivoting to Harden instead and just, we have to find the salary, but instead of playing Kawhi, model's pretty high on Harden, 13.2 off index and really strong DK and FD values for the price.
Yeah, half the ownership too. Same game environment. I like it.
I usually don't feel great about Harden, but in this game environment, it's hard not to. And then Zubac, I'm mixing in, and Bogdanovich, I'm getting in 1% of my lineup. So I guess he's just on the on the cusp of like being a playable play. Were you getting any of Bogdanovich, assuming he starts again?
Yeah, I have 1%, and then the other play that I don't mind getting to is Chris Dunn. He's when he gets some minutes, he's pretty productive. Kind of a long shot GPP play, but I think he's okay.
Glad you mentioned him. He put up 40 last game, and so I do agree the price is a little bit more than I'd like to pay. If he gets there, he gets there, but I don't know that we have to today. But he's in play
Yeah,
for sure. On the other side, Chicago, Vooch is out. Did we get word that Ao Dosunmu is for sure out?
we just got that. Yeah, he's
Okay,
out.
nice. So they're missing a couple pieces of the rotation. Someone mentioned Giddy earlier. Model thinks Giddy is one of the best overall plays of the day. DK value 15.9. It's like he's most expensive player up here. Apparently, him and Miles Turner are the mid range guys we want to target in Ubre. But yeah, Giddy, I love him today. Getting a ton. I don't really see a reason to get away. Like it is a perceived tough matchup against the Clippers, but his usage is just insane right now, and he's kind of filling up the stat sheet. And so this sticker shock price, these ownerships, I want to be over on Josh Giddey by quite a bit actually.
Yeah, I do too. And the model liked him that much, and that's with IO in. So
Yeah,
with AO out, it only helps.
yeah, and then Zach Collins showing up with a really strong DK value. Yeah, this we have him for 31 minutes for Zach Collins. That seems a little bit high. I think he did get into foul trouble last game, so maybe he lost a rotation. But I'm pretty comfortable with these ownerships. What do you think about the 37% on FanDuel power forward only?
Yeah, I think it's still fine. 5K, it's a terrible matchup, but I still like getting there.
Our boy Kevin Werder, man. Do you know what happened with him and Kobe White last game? Did we
And
find out?
no.
So Kobe White was announced starting, but then Kevin Werder started, and they're like, we don't know what's going on with Kobe White. He checks in 2 minutes into the game, checks out a minute later, but then the rest of the game, it was like his normal rotation. So I have no idea what to think of it. But Kevin Werder, the model identified him as a top play. The price came up. We have him at 25 minutes, 1% ownership. Is this sticker shock? Like, why is he only 1%? I feel like he deserves more than 1%.
Yeah, I guess so. It might come up now with AO out, but maybe it don't.
I have 10% of Werder on DK. I'm pretty comfortable with it at 4,500.
Yeah, that's what I have too.
Any exposure to Matas or Lonzo left the game early last time too, but if he's good to go, he's good to go. And these guys are both identified as like some of the top DK values on the whole slate.
Yeah, I have quite a bit of Matas as well. Probably is playing backup center. Only 7% ownership just seems way low. I'm 4 times the field on that. So I
Same.
think Matas is a good play. And then Lonzo, I like going back to Lonzo as well.
Yeah, I'm getting exposure to all these guys. And then Kobe White, kind of, I don't know, maybe he's getting forgotten, but 11.1 OF index at under 7K, like really strong DK value, 2% ownership. I mean, I have 6% Kobe White, and that feels pretty good.
Yeah, I have 13% right now.
Woo-wee. Yeah. This is a game to target. All these guys are good points per dollar plays, plus Kevin Werder, who's like borderline.
Yep.
Next game, Sacramento. Utah is pretty interesting. I smashed Sabonis rebounding overs today, right?
I did too.
Nice. Not getting any in DFS though, but DeMar showing up as a top value here. Keegan Murray is pretty much always a good value on the model, 2% ownership. Domus is still good at the price, so maybe I need to adjust something. What do you like from Sacramento?
Yeah, I don't mind getting the pieces from here. My highest exposed right now are Monk and Levine.
Same.
I'm okay with that, and then I don't mind getting like taking a shot on Keon Ellis as a long shot value play, and then Keegan, he's going to play the minutes. His price is okay. It's just tough to get to him with a lot of high usage players out there. Demar is probably pretty interesting. I'm not getting to enough right now. I might bump him a little, but I don't mind any of these starters as GPP plays.
If I'm not mistaken, the model is giving us DeMar over Levine every single day, and this isn't like that close. Like it's clearly favoring DeMar. Model missed last time. Zach Levine shot 16 for 19 from the field, but I'm in agreement with the model today. I like getting to DeMar over Levine. I'm getting to both, and then I'm getting some Monk. And like I said, I think I have to force in some Demantis because he shows up pretty good on the model. And if everyone's going to take these cheap centers, I'll take some Demantis at 5%.
Yeah, I agree.
Other side of this game, Utah. What is the injury report here? Laurie's out, Colin Sexton's out, John Collins is out. So Kessler's back. It's going to muck up the rotation, and Clarkson's back too. Wow, I'm getting a lot of Clarkson in my exposures. Don't feel great about that. What do you think?
Yeah, don't feel good at all. I'm probably going to bring him down. I don't really love it. And then I'm getting to a little bit of Keontae, and I don't really love it at the price. So overall, I think this team's pretty avoidable. I don't hate taking shots on like Walker Kessler, but that's pretty much it. And then a little bit of Clarkson.
You guys know that I love my boy Isaiah Collier. I've been hyping him up on the days when the model says to hype him up. Model's not telling us that today. 21% ownership's a little extreme. I will say the 6K price, I think this is like the appropriate price where he's appealing to play. And so on FanDuel, maybe that's okay. But the model is not saying he stands out in any way. But model actually likes Clarkson more on FanDuel. He's pulling the ownership too, though.
Yeah.
Any shots on Kessler? I want to take shots on Kessler every day that he's around 7K.
Yeah, I do too. He's actually good. They're going to need him to play as many minutes as possible going against Sabonis.
Any of the like secondary guys. KJ Martin's been getting minutes, but he just is running around when he's out there. He's not doing much.
Yeah, not a ton of interest. I guess KJ Martin would be the only one.
Let's knock out this last game and then we'll see what's going on in the chat. So Spurs, I don't know. I mentioned yesterday something about the lower minutes because maybe they have incentive to tank now. They're kind of far off, but what do you want to do with this team?
Yeah, I'm not really getting to anybody from here. If I was going to take shots, it'd probably mainly just be Fox. And then I played quite a bit of Keldon Johnson last night. It didn't work out, but I'm down with going back to Keldon Johnson. And then Sohan on FanDuel, I don't mind getting there, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, just look at the difference in these two games. Same team. I mean, kind of the same result. They got blown out the first time, but Chris Paul, 25, 33 minutes. Could be volatile game to game. We'll see what happens. Maybe I just read into this a little bit too much, but Chris Paul ended up having a good game last game. I don't know about the 6K price still with De'Aaron Fox there, but model says he's fine. Bismack is fine. If his price was lower, I'd be taking shots on Bismack again. Played a lot of him yesterday. But yeah, Fox is the only player I have exposure to here.
Yep.
It's like a 9-point spread now against Houston. Other side of this game, dude, Tari Eason shot up the value yesterday after we got their news, and I jammed him in, and I thought he was going to do it. He didn't do it. He's ruled out today, so he can't hurt us again. But I did see a question about Sengun in the chat earlier as a pay up. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I don't mind getting there. Currently, he's my highest exposed Rocket, so I
Yep.
guess I do like getting there. I'm still kind of under the field on him though, but I think he's a pretty good pay up option on a slate where we don't have a lot of high end pay ups. Him, Amon, and Jalen Green are showing up for me quite a bit.
Yeah, I like Sengun. Model loves Sengun today, paying up for center, 23 and 20% ownership. I'm not at this 23%. I feel like I really like Sengun, but yeah, not even getting to that 23. I am getting it over on Jalen Green, Amon Thompson, and then I'm going to throw you a crazy one here, Smitty. Jabari Smith, top of value for this team, 1% owned on DraftKings, 5,500, projected for 33 and a half minutes. And if I'm not mistaken, he played that off the bench yesterday.
Yeah, I was actually looking at him, top DK value and top FanDuel value. So definitely someone I'm going to bump up in my exposures.
It's like if we're playing Jabari, we're not playing him for this 31. We're playing him for this 39. And so it's a fine line, but the minutes are there. We haven't projected well. Model is identifying him as a very under-owned value. super high risk. I don't think we jam him in, but if you get like 4 or 5%, that's enough.
Yeah. One other guy that I'm pretty interested in here. I say pretty interested in, but I think he's a good GPP, like a value pivot, is Dylan Brooks. I
Yeah.
like getting there. The minutes are always there, especially going against Fox, Chris Paul. They're going to need him out there. I like getting to him.
Dylan Brooks won someone $100,000 yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like the fourth or fifth time this season. Play Dylan Brooks, guys. It's so funny because this happens every time he has a blow up game. He put up 37 yesterday, 23% owned on FanDuel. He was what, 2 or 3% owned yesterday? It was
Yeah.
1% on DK. He's still a good play. Models identifying him stronger value over on FanDuel, so this could probably make sense. And then Amon Thompson, he still has a double digit OF index. Price has stabilized, so this is probably the appropriate price. GPP play.
Yeah, for me, it's just kind of tough to get there on either site, but prefer him on FanDuel just for the stock upside.
Dennis Schroeder's out. Holly is in. Sixers are starting Maxi Grimes, Oubre, Paul George, and Drummond. Kevin Werder's in. Zach Collins is in. Cool. Let's answer a couple questions and then build a quick dummy.
We got Drummond starting.
Yeah, we got Drummond starting. We'll see if the minutes update. I don't think we could really boost him that many minutes, though. I really don't think he's in line for that much more.
You mentioned Towns was out.
I didn't see anywhere.
Yeah, Towns is out.
Okay, Towns is out. Nice. Wow. Wow. So we just talked for 45 minutes about nothing.
Yeah.
Chris Middleton's minute projection, Jose. We have him for 25. I'd rather not. Would I pay up for Sengun against San Antonio? Yeah, especially we're about to get hit with a ton of value in a second. AO out, Giddy, yes. Kobe was bleeding. Yeah, but he came back in. Oh, pregame. That's why the stuff happened.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I seen the laceration, so I figured something. I don't know.
Monk, Derek White, Poole, or Quickly. My first instinct was Quickly. Model likes Poole, and model. Yeah, I think Poole and Quickly are the two that the model likes the most there. You have a different answer?
No, I agree.
So I like Giddy over Simons. The problem if I answer this question, like I do, but Simons is outscoring Giddy tonight now for sure. They're both really good plays. It's a lot easier to feel better about Giddy than it is about Simons. They've both been playing well, but just considering the way they score their fantasy points, I feel like Simons really has to hit 5 threes most of the time to get there. Giddy doesn't. And then Barrett. Did you like Barrett? I think he was showing up pretty well. Him and Quickly. I'm more interested in Quickly, but I do like Barrett. And then Grady Dick's still top of value.
Yeah, I don't hate getting there.
You never played Dylan Brooks, but you have 8% today. All right, you guys heard it. Fade him. It's over. Let's build a super quick dummy. Who are your first guys in, Smitty?
Well, that kind of changed.
Let's do
Probably
Sharp.
Precious. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's do Precious. He's going to be the big one. I'll refresh the model before we get out of here so we can see if we have an update on New York, but we might not have time, so make sure you join the Discord. We got our boy Jayhawk starting right about now. Instructions to join that are in the description below. It's just one of our other analysts talking for another 30 minutes about the slate, get a different perspective on the model. Hawk Tua starting.
Is he?
Haley? Who's Hawk Tua? Oh, Ariel
Hukporty,
bro?
Oh, yeah, he is starting.
All right. What is his price? Hukporty. This is crazy if we put him in the dummy build, dude.
Gosh.
I don't think we can put him in the dummy. We can consider him. I don't think I'm going to end up getting here. Just play everyone else on the Knicks, right?
Yeah, that's what happens with the Knicks. The rest of the starters are just going to play 40, 45 minutes.
Yeah, like...
maybe 48.
So we already have Cat out in the model. Sorting by DK value. Brunson, we're just going to play a ton of Brunson. OG, I look at OG as more of a tournament play in this situation, but we'll see what the model says a couple minutes. These guys' minutes are all insane. They're still adjusting, so don't take this at face value. I don't know. I'm probably just going to be over on everyone.
Yeah, me too. I think McBride's pretty interesting.
Depending what these guys come in at. McBride off the bench, though, right?
Yeah.
If it's these four and Hukporty. So should we throw Jalen in here?
Yeah, that's fine.
Put Jalen, but you can put whatever pay up point guard you want for you guys at home. Anyone else on New York? I think that's probably okay for now.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Grady Dick, we got to throw him in there, top of value. We'll do Zach Collins, top of value.
Denny.
We'll do Denny, one of our favorite plays. Leaves us 7,900 for two positions, and just looking at top pay up. So like Jalen Brunson's the top pay up. This is adjusting. He's probably not going to be projected for 43 minutes. Did we get Giddy in there? Let's get Giddy in
No.
there. And then that leaves us 8,100 for a forward. Gives us Josh Hart, Zach LaVine, or upgrade one of the other deep values we got to here. But something like this is probably the Occupy special. Maybe I'm not sure what the model will think of Precious. It was kind of low on him, but yeah, I like it. Anything else you want to mention before we get out of here?
No. Agbaji probably starts for Toronto. I don't know if we got that yet. I think he's in play at least. At least
Okay.
wanted to mention his name.
Okay, nice. Cash, I'll just sort by ownership. And if you've been watching the show, you know which guys we're into. Just maybe, I don't know. Cash is tough, so I don't play cash. I just play tournaments. And best shooting guard for less than 7K. Grady Dick, if you want someone that's actually closer to 7K, then RJ Barrett, 7,300. Anthony Simons. So appreciate you guys. Join us in the Discord. Hit that like and subscribe on the way out. We'll see you tomorrow.